All right, guys, welcome into another casual check-in, and the San Antonio Spurs are still alive. They win Game 3 in Madison Square Garden. Even with all the TSA, the airport security, you had the National Guard there. I think there were a couple tanks outside, having to be stripped down and go through all that screening. They still managed to stay focused and show up in Game 3. Great game. We'll start off obviously giving credit to the Spurs. I mean, Castle and Wemby played phenomenal. Wemby had a great game. I thought most of his shots, the Knicks. I mean, you could tell that Mitch Johnson made it a known point that they wanted to go ahead and get Wemby some touches at the rim. Um, and I thought the Knicks early on did a bad job of kind of containing that. I think they let Wemby get a little too deep in the paint. Always they let him get behind the defense, and obviously when you let a 7'6" guy get behind you, it's an easy lob all day long. So I give credit to the Spurs and Mitch Johnson and Wemby for figuring that out. And overall, yeah, I mean he had a great game as far as um, shot had 32 points, shot 11 for 18, got to the line. Um, but yeah, I mean, Castle is the one who closed the game. Him and Fox. We'll get into Fox a little bit, but Steph Castle, great game. Obviously, he had a bad game too, so it's good to see that he was able to, come on the road and kind of bounce back in and make an impact in Game 3, and really was. You could make a case he might have been their best player, just because of the defense he was playing. Obviously, Wemby is playing defense as well too, but the defense that he's playing on Stephon or on Jalen Brunson has been impactful as well. And we'll get into Jalen Brunson too. Yeah, Stephon Castle. I mean, when he's hitting threes, I mean, it's kind of tough. He was 2 for 5 from three, so it makes it a little bit harder for you to kind of sag off and play the drive a little bit. And he made them pay. I mean, the biggest three was that last bailout three. Cat's playing great defense on Wemby. There's like 3 seconds on the shot clock in the corner, not the corner. What was it? The right slot to Castle. I think Josh Hart contested it. Hand up in his face, barely didn't get a piece of it, and Stephon Castle makes it. So that, I mean, you just gotta give credit to the Spurs. They made shots. Champagnie came to play today. I mean, Champagnie had 3 threes. He had that flagrant foul. Closeout by Brunson, which we'll get into some of the ref issues as well too. I mean, it was just a great game overall from the Spurs. I mean, Dylan Harper did have a great game. He was crashing the glass, so he affected the game in other ways. Wasn't effective shooting the ball really. And I think that's a credit to the Knicks defense. The Knicks did a good job as far as playing the drives a little bit better. But then obviously some of the other guys started to get going. Devin Vassell hit a couple big shots. So did Champagne, obviously, and then De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox obviously closed the game with that mid range, basically the dagger right there. Yeah, I mean, I thought Fox played okay. Obviously, shooting the ball it wasn't very effective, but he gets so much of the offense set. He calms them down a little bit, and he does most of the playmaking. Just because the threat of him and his speed as far as getting into the middle of the floor and kind of getting you behind him and putting you in jail is what they say. It helps out Wemby's game a little bit more, and it makes sure that the defense kind of has to respect Wemby and Fox whenever they're in that drop coverage. But yeah, overall good game from the Spurs. I thought they did a good job. Shout out to Miss Johnson for making those necessary adjustments. I do want to get into obviously the Brunson struggles. I mean, Brunson didn't have as bad of a game as he had the past 2 games, or the first 2 games. Obviously, he shot 11 for 25, had 32 points. One thing I don't like is the fact that he's exerting so much energy bringing the ball up to get the offense set. And you can see Stephon Castle's got him 94 feet, so it's kind of hard as a guard. I mean, I think this is just a Knicks adjustment. It's just a simple adjustment. Whenever Brunson's out there with another guy that can handle the ball, let's say Josh Hart, for example, especially if Wemby's guarding him, have him bring the ball up, have him, just let Brunson move off ball, kind of get himself, some time to breathe, not having to face the pressure as much, and then get your offense hit. Because the thing is, Brunson's literally, he's not getting into the front court until it's literally 16 seconds left on the shot clock. So you've got to be able to get your offense started a little bit sooner. I mean, I know it might be a couple of seconds, but that's huge, obviously, when it comes down to getting your offense and getting a good shot. So I think that's a small adjustment the Knicks need to make. I mean, Brunson, as far as he had a few turnovers. He kind of it's kind of tough. We'll get into he got pushed by Wemby. We'll talk about the refs. Yeah, but I think early on, Mikal Bridges getting in foul trouble kind of hurt him. Obviously, he's one of those guys home cooking. Once he gets going, it kind of the floodgates will probably have opened. But Mikal Bridges got 2 quick fouls, I think, in the first 4 minutes, so he had to sit down, which kind of hurt them. Then you have to bring your guys off the bench a little bit early. Jeremy Sohan even got, minutes in this game. Um, but yeah, Jordan Clarkson got some good minutes. I think he did good. As far as offensively, he had a couple mistakes. He had a couple turnovers, and I think he missed. He got a call that they missed on one of his jumpers that they didn't give him. But the biggest thing here was Cat didn't play well. I mean, Cat, obviously, they got to find out a way to get him going offensively, man. You had a big OG Anunoby game. You had a really good Josh Hart game. Like, Josh Hart literally scored 0 points last game, and you got 16 from him tonight. You've got to be able to capitalize when you get 28 points from OG Anunoby and 16 points from Josh Hart. And it's normally, like, it's crazy because Cat, I feel like, obviously, we know whenever it comes to a smaller guard is on Cat kind of doesn't like to assert himself as much. They got to make it known, if Wemby's going to camp out there sag off the guy in the corner, you got to put more stress on that Spurs defense as far as their rotations. Because right now, the Knicks weren't able to do that as much in Game 3 as they did in Game 2. And even as they did in Game 1, I think Game 1 they just missed a few more shots. But Game 2, you can see they were hitting more of those shots. But yeah, I think the Spurs did a good job defensively, but Towns has got to figure out a way to kind of get his offense going, create for himself. I think they might need to stagger those minutes a little bit with Brunson and Towns after that first stint. Because, boy, I mean, and that goes back to the point, if somebody's else bringing up the ball, like Josh Hart per se, or even Mikal Bridges, anybody, I mean, all their guys that are out there are usually solid ball handlers. And they're not going to be full court press like Bridges is going to be. They're not trying to wear out all the other guys because then those guys will get out and run as well. But I think if you're able to, get off the ball from Brunson or get Brunson off the ball, get your other guys initiating the first, just get over the timeline and then get something going. I think that'll help Cat out as far as screening for Brunson, kind of take advantage of those things, or even kind of having another guard, whether it be OG or Mikal, whoever's in the game, kind of screening for Brunson, kind of trying to get him loose, and then operate off of that. Just more off ball movement instead of Brunson. I mean, there was like 10 possessions where Brunson dribbled the clock out for like 19, 22 seconds. Like, it was crazy. And there was they highlighted one position on the broadcast, but I think there were 2 or 3 more where Brunson, nobody else touched the ball on the possession but Brunson, and it ended up in a bad shot or a turnover. So, yeah, I think they got to figure that out, man. I think they got to figure that out. If they're able to figure that out, I think they'll be able to kind of get back in the. I mean, they're still in control of the series. You still stole home court. I mean, now you can't give it up. If you got to win Game 4, that way you go up 3-1, make the odds almost impossible. Obviously, if you're LeBron James, it's possible if you're LeBron James and Kyrie Irving against the 7-3 Warriors. But yeah, I think you gotta really And it might be easier, I think, with the Trump in attendance, and obviously you've got to go through security and do all that stuff, and they were booing and all. Like, you don't want to boo somebody in your home crowd that's at the game to technically support you. Like that's just it was a big distraction. I did ultimately think it was gonna play a part, but I think the Knicks game 4, they kind of tonight game 3, they were a little bit scared and nervous to start off the game. You kind of tell they couldn't get no offense going. It's just kind of the atmosphere. Just it is what it is. But game 4, I think they'll be a little bit more relaxed. Figure out a way to make it happen and pull themselves back in this series. Because game 4 is a big game. It's a must win for both teams. I feel like if you're the Knicks, if you go back to San Antonio 2-2, you basically just did nothing. You know what I'm saying? After being in such control of this series, and then if you're the Spurs, you're going down 3-1. It's been done before by a greatest player of all time. So, who knows if Wemby is, the greatest player of all time in waiting, maybe it happens. But I think if you're the Knicks, you got to make sure that doesn't happen. Um, but yeah, the biggest thing that people started to notice last night was the referees, man. And I don't think it was as terrible as game 2. I think the calls that they missed were more impactful than how they were officiating game 2. Game 2, I think it was crazy how it was literally one-sided as far as they were trying to help out San Antonio. And it was just very inconsistent. I'm not going to say, let me take that back. I don't think they're trying to help San Antonio, but the inconsistencies that leaned San Antonio's way, I feel like it was as evident as it used, or as evident as it could be, in the NBA Finals game, where it's like, okay, we know there's always, NBA's rigging it. There's always these conspiracy theories, Vegas trying to make money, NBA wants to get paid. Why would you not, maximize your product if you were, so stuff like that. So, and when you're watching it, you're like, okay, well, this is just business 101. I mean, the NBA just trying to force a game 7 or just extend the series as long as they can. And it's obviously, how do you do that? You do it through the referees. Uh, but I don't think that was the case in game 3, 100%. I do think the calls that they missed, obviously, you saw. I mean, Wemby is not helping his PR with his dirty antics. I mean, pushing Brunson's head to the ground, basically. The guy's 7'6". His arms are probably like 4 foot. What are they? They're probably 4 feet long each. And he literally shoves Brunson's head to the ground. And then obviously Brunson gets called for a flagrant on a reckless closeout, which it's tough. It's a tough call. I don't know why that's called a flagrant. When they're not taking an extra step or something. I think like that should only be a flagrant call. And then you got Wemby doing the same thing with Josh Hart, but Josh Hart doesn't fall to the ground like Julian Champagnie did on the Brunson foul, so Wemby doesn't get called for it. And yeah, I mean it's tough because I think if Wemby gets one more flagrant, because he got a flagrant too in Minnesota, he'll be suspended for a game. So I think that definitely plays into it, because I mean, as much as the NBA, you know, wants to enforce their rules, they're not finna enforce it on this generational talent and best player that they have that could potentially have him suspended for a game in the biggest stage of their, organization or their business. You know what I'm saying? So it's tough. It's tough. But I do think the refs definitely played a factor. I don't think that's why the Knicks lost. I think that inbounds where the Spurs literally had 6 guys on the court. They had 6 guys on the court, and then the clock ran down. They paused it, and they didn't even reset the clock. They just went out there. They had 6 guys on the court. The rulebook states that's a 2-shot technical, and a first shot clock. So it's tough. I don't know. I mean, yeah, the Knicks kind of have to figure that out to where you don't have to leave the game, or you're just hoping that the refs make better calls and stuff. But yeah, I think they weren't allowed to be as physical in this game, which kind of sucks, because I mean they were physical the first 2 games. So it sucks, the inconsistencies from crew chief to crew chief, and the staff from another. So But yeah, we got ourselves a series now. I mean, Game 4 is going to be a huge pivotal game, man. This is legacy games right here. So, it's interesting. We'll see what happens. Out there in Madison Square Garden, Jalen Brunson, you got to step up. Karl Anthony Towns, you got to step up. Wemby, you got to take your home team, or you got to take your team home back with an even series. So, yeah, I think, we'll see. It's definitely could go either way. Uh, like I said, I had the Knicks in 6, so either way, my prediction, I'll be happy if the Spurs win. But I mean, we'll see. I mean, it's two great teams. They got here for a reason. We'll see how they can close it out. So appreciate you guys for watching the casual check-in. We'll see y'all after Game 4.